now that our concept has been approved, it's time to plan. Planning a production is the same technique as planning a project, pretty much, right? So the idea is to come up with, a schedule, a set of deliverables, a budget, a kind of a quality plan, risk management, and all the other aspects such as communication, human resource, procurement. It's to start breaking down all the pieces into a different work package that we call it in the project management terminology, but we're going to apply the same kind of methodology for planning a project, because at the end of the day, planning is planning. So one of the key techniques to start with is to understand the scope of what we have to deliver, and taking that concept and breaking it down and using a technique of decomposition. So the best way to get at the identifying all what needs to be done, that means all the key package that needs to be worked on, is to use a mind mapping technique. And for those of you that don't know mind mapping, I'm going to put the link, for different resource there where you could, go and take a look. There's softwares that allow you to do that, or you could actually draw it yourself. It's a technique that is pretty straightforward, but it helps you to organize your thought and organize a discussion when you are in a meeting where people are going to start throwing different things. So there's different ways of using this technique of mind mapping. You could use yellow sticker and put it on the wall. You could actually do a brainstorming and throw ideas and then rearrange ID by grouping. You could start by function, saying, okay, in terms of technical directors, video, lighting, etc. So from that, you could decompose what needs to be done. We could decompose also per phase. For example, in the design phase, this is the kind of all the works we need to do. In the procurement phase, this is all the works we need to do. In the training phase, this is all we need to do, etc. So depending what it is that makes you more comfortable in order for you to get at what needs to be done at the lowest level. So breaking down, and the more you're using decomposing technique to go down to this certain element where you can have one box that fit to one person, that would be the ultimate breakdown. That means at the lowest level of your tree that you have decomposed, and also the terminology of project management is work breakdown structure. At the lowest level, you would be able to have that package, that box there being assigned to one person. At least you know that this box, later on, we're going to need someone to do an estimate, how much it's going to cost to do that, how long it's going to take to do that, what kind of level of quality we can measure with that box. So coming out of this mind mapping, WBS, whatever you want to call it, you're going to have the structure of all the deliverables that you will be doing as part of this production. And that's very important to understand the scope, because if something is not on your structure there, you're not going to do it. If it's on your structure, you're going to do it. Not only that, if it's on your structure, you're going to have to go to the next step, which is planning a schedule around that, planning costs around that, planning resource around that. Everything else is going to have to be planned around these bugs. So it's very important to have a full view of all the production. Sometimes it's pretty big, especially if you have like a big show. For example, do a show where you have a big component, which is a theater. Then you would have a big component, which is a use of a lot of technology. And then you would have a lot of artistic, but that goes with the artistic. Of course, you would have different elements such as, the scenery, the costumes, the props. You can keep going on and on and on. So all of this, need to be explored so we can get at everything that needs to be done on this project. Because if you don't map it, if you don't catch it somewhere, guarantee you there's things that's going to fall off the crack. And you're going to realize, oh my God, we didn't hire that person to do that because we didn't have it in our work breakdown or mind mapping. So it is a very important technique. Of course, it does. I don't teach that in 5 minutes there, but there's so many training on this. You could follow on YouTube. I'm sure on the university online you could follow that. And there's softwares that does it. There's apps that does it. there's no reason to not learn this one. It's a beautiful tool, not only to do that, by the way, and let's open up a bracket here. Mind mapping, you're going to use that. An executive producer, you're going to use that all the time. You know, you use that in meetings sometimes. It's so confusing, the issues. The people are throwing all kind of things. You're using your mind mapping to, okay, let's decompose this thing and let's apply the technique to try to understand a full picture so we can understand where are the issues so we could come up with an action plan to recover. So that tool, I'm telling you, is a very, very good value for anybody that master it. I use it all the time, and I sometimes I've got the apps, but it's easier for me just to draw, and I could be sitting in a meeting and drawing and exposing my mind mapping. So I encourage you, follow the links down and go get educated about mind mapping. You're going to thank me on this one.